The world is on edge, gripped by a sense of uncertainty and anxiety as headlines warn of a looming crisis. Every new development is watched closely, with leaders and citizens alike fearing what might come next. Tensions are at a breaking point as Israel and Iran inch closer to direct conflict, raising alarms across the globe and drawing in the attention of major world powers. Israel is reportedly preparing for a possible strike on Iran's nuclear facilities, with officials confirming that military plans are in motion and the nation's defense forces on high alert. The urgency is driven by Iran's rapid nuclear advancements, which Israeli leaders see as a direct threat to their national security and regional stability. Israeli officials believe that the window to act is closing fast, fueling a sense of desperation and determination to prevent Iran from reaching its nuclear goals. Recent Israeli attacks have damaged Iran's air defenses, temporarily weakening their ability to respond to further strikes and escalating the military standoff. But Iran is quickly rebuilding its defenses, working around the clock to restore its military capabilities and narrowing Israel's window for decisive action. Iran, meanwhile, has issued fierce warnings, promising massive retaliation if attacked, and rallying its people with strong rhetoric and public demonstrations. The IRGC has showcased its military might in parades and drills, signaling its readiness for escalation and sending a clear message to its adversaries. Both sides are locked in a dangerous cycle of threats, military preparations, and countermoves, with each action increasing the risk of a wider conflict. The region, and the world, are bracing for what could be a historic confrontation as civilians prepare for the worst and diplomats scramble for solutions. The question now, will this high-stakes brinkmanship tip into all-out war, or can diplomacy pull the world back from the edge? The roots of this crisis run deep, stretching back through decades of shifting alliances, broken promises, and bitter enmity. The relationship between Israel and Iran has been shaped by a long history of hostility, suspicion, and ideological opposition, with each side viewing the other as a fundamental threat to its existence. After Iran's 1979 revolution, the new Islamic leadership adopted a fiercely anti-Israel stance, denouncing Israel's legitimacy and vowing to oppose its influence in the region. This marked a dramatic shift from the previous era, when the two countries had maintained discrete ties. In the years that followed, Iran began arming and supporting groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza, fueling proxy conflicts and a shadow war that has simmered for decades. Israel, in turn, has responded with a campaign of covert operations, targeted assassinations, and sophisticated cyber attacks, all aimed at curbing Iran's regional ambitions and nuclear program. Each side sees the other as an existential threat, fueling a relentless cycle of paranoia, military buildups, and retaliation that keeps the region on edge. Their rivalry is not just about ideology or security, it's also a battle for regional dominance. Iran seeks to expand its influence from Tehran to the Mediterranean, while Israel forges new alliances with Arab states to counter Iran's reach. Every conflict in the region, from Syria to Gaza, becomes another front in their ongoing struggle, drawing in allies and escalating tensions. This is not just a local feud, it's a high-stakes geopolitical chess match, with the world watching closely as the balance of power in the Middle East hangs in the balance. At the heart of the crisis lies Iran's nuclear program, a source of deep anxiety and fierce debate across the globe. The world's attention is fixed on the question, how close is Iran to developing a nuclear weapon, and what will happen if it crosses that threshold? For Israel, the prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran is not just a strategic challenge, it's an existential threat. Israeli leaders have repeatedly declared that they will do whatever it takes, including military action, to prevent Iran from acquiring the bomb. Iran, on the other hand, maintains that its nuclear ambitions are purely peaceful, aimed at energy and medical research. Yet, recent breakthroughs in uranium enrichment and the installation of advanced centrifuges have set off alarm bells in capitals worldwide, fueling suspicions and deepening mistrust. The collapse of the 2015 nuclear deal, once seen as a diplomatic triumph, and a series of failed negotiations have left the path to diplomacy in ruins. Hopes for a peaceful resolution are fading fast. The International Atomic Energy Agency's recent censure of Iran has only heightened the sense of urgency, pushing both sides further apart and making compromise seem ever more elusive. Israel accuses Iran of racing toward a nuclear bomb, while Iran insists it is merely defending its sovereignty and national pride in the face of mounting pressure and threats. With diplomatic talks at a standstill and Iran's nuclear progress accelerating, the possibility of military confrontation is once again looming large, raising fears of a wider conflict in the region. Around the world, leaders and citizens alike are watching anxiously as the window for a peaceful solution narrows with each passing day. The stakes have never been higher, and the next move could determine the future of the Middle East and the world. The world is scrambling to prevent a wider war. The US urges restraint but prepares for conflict, evacuating personnel and warning allies. European powers push for diplomacy, but their influence is limited. Russia and China back Iran, calling for calm but criticizing Western pressure. Middle Eastern countries fear spillover. Any war could ignite proxy forces and destabilize the region. US bases and oil infrastructure are at risk, threatening global energy supplies. The humanitarian and economic fallout could be catastrophic, with millions potentially displaced. The Gaza conflict has shown how quickly violence can spiral. The world desperately hopes for a diplomatic breakthrough before it's too late. The future holds only dangerous options. An Israeli strike could trigger all-out war, drawing in Iran's proxies and possibly the US. A last-minute diplomatic deal is possible, but deep mistrust makes it unlikely. The shadow war may intensify, risking accidental escalation. A major conflict would disrupt global energy, trade, and security. The human cost would be immense, with suffering far beyond the region. The fate of Israel and Iran is tied to global peace and stability. The world waits, hoping for restraint but bracing for the worst.
Zenvery.